My name is Adam, and if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have told you I was in the perfect relationship. My girlfriend, Sophie, and I had been together for almost 3 years. We met at a friend's birthday dinner, and from the moment we started talking, it felt effortless. Same humor, same love for late-night drives, same dream of traveling the world someday. We moved in together after a year, got a dog, and built a life that, at least from the outside, looked perfect. But sometimes, perfection hides cracks so deep you don't see them until everything falls apart. It started small, the kind of things you brush off because you don't want to believe something's wrong. Sophie started staying late at work more often. At first, I believed her. She worked in marketing, and deadlines were brutal. Then came the nights she'd go out with her co-workers, always insisting I didn't need to come along. I noticed how she guarded her phone like it was made of gold, turning it face down, taking it with her even when she showered. Still, I didn't accuse her. I told myself not to be paranoid, that she deserved her space. Then one Friday evening, everything changed. I was planning to take her out to dinner, her favorite sushi place, just to surprise her after her long week. Around 6 p.m., I texted her, "Hey love, done with work? Thought we could grab dinner tonight." A few minutes later, her reply came, "Can't talk, busy tonight." Simple. Cold. No heart emoji. No explanation. That wasn't like her. I stared at the message, my gut tightening. Something inside me snapped. For months I'd been pretending not to notice how distant she'd become, how her affection had turned mechanical. I took a deep breath and typed back 2 words, "Me too." I didn't know what I was expecting. Maybe no response, maybe an indifferent, "okay." But instead, within seconds, my phone buzzed again. "Busy? With who?" Just like that. I stared at the screen and let out a humorless laugh. Suddenly, she was the one asking questions. I replied, "Don't worry about it. Enjoy your night." Then I turned off my phone. Instead of sitting home and torturing myself, I grabbed my jacket and went out. My friend Leo was at a nearby bar, so I joined him. We talked, played pool, and for the first time in months, I felt free. When I finally turned my phone back on a few hours later, there were 12 missed calls and 7 texts from Sophie. The first said, "Why aren't you answering?" Then, "Who are you with?" And finally, "Are you seeing someone?" I didn't reply. It was strange. The person who'd been emotionally absent for weeks suddenly cared when she thought she might be losing control. When I got home that night, Sophie was already there. She was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, eyes red from crying or anger, maybe both. "Where were you?" she demanded. "You said you were busy." I shrugged. "Yeah, I was." She stood up, glaring. "With who, Adam?" I looked at her calmly. "Does it matter?" That silence that followed was deafening. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. "So you are seeing someone," she snapped. I raised an eyebrow. "You tell me, Sophie. You've been too busy for me for weeks. Why is it suddenly a problem when I say the same thing?" Her face softened slightly, the anger giving way to panic. "It's not like that," she said quietly. "Then what is it like?" I asked. She hesitated. "There's someone at work. It just got complicated. But I swear, nothing serious happened." My stomach twisted, but I stayed calm. "You mean it hasn't happened yet?" She looked down. That was answer enough. I nodded slowly. "You could have just told me," I said. "Instead, you made me feel like I was crazy for suspecting anything." Tears welled in her eyes. "Adam, please, I didn't mean to hurt you." I took a step back. "You didn't just hurt me, Sophie. You made me doubt myself." That night, I packed a bag. She begged me to stay, said we could fix it, said she'd end things with the guy from work. But I was done fixing something she'd already decided to break. As I walked out, she grabbed my arm. "Is there someone else?" she asked. I looked her in the eyes and said, "No, Sophie. But tonight made me realize there should be me. I need to start choosing myself." The next few months were rough. Losing someone you thought you'd spend forever with doesn't heal overnight. There were days I missed her, nights I almost called her. But every time I remembered that text, "Can't talk, busy tonight," It reminded me of all the times she'd chosen someone or something else over us. 6 months later, I was at a coffee shop downtown, working on a project, when I heard someone say my name. It was Sophie. She looked different, quieter, sadder. We talked briefly, just small talk. She said she'd left the company, that things with him didn't work out. Then she asked, "Do you ever think about us?" I smiled politely. "Sometimes," I admitted, "but only to remind myself what I won't settle for again." She nodded, eyes glistening, and whispered, "You really were the one who cared." I didn't respond. I just wished her well and walked away. As I stepped outside, the sun was setting, the same golden light that used to spill through our apartment windows when things were good. But this time, it felt different. I realized I wasn't angry anymore. That night I learned something priceless. When someone makes you feel like an option, you remind them, and yourself, that you were always the choice. And all it took was 2 words, "Me too."